So, we have two services on Sunday. We want to welcome our online viewers. First service is the Bible prophecy update that we do weekly, have for many, many years. And second service now is the actual sermon. It's a verse-by-verse teaching currently in the book of James. And today, we're going to talk about talk. Specifically, straight talk, about talk, as fellow believers in and followers of Jesus. For those of you that read ahead to stay ahead, you know what's ahead in chapter 3, verses 1 through 12, which will be our text. Also, for those of you that are watching by way of YouTube or Facebook, we would encourage you to, at this time, go directly to the website at jdfrog.org for the uncensored and uninterrupted entirety of today's update. And with that, we'll get started. For today's update, I want to talk with you about the well-known idiom of a blessing in disguise as it relates to Bible prophecy. A simple definition of a blessing in disguise is that of a good thing, initially seeming like it was a bad thing, that in the end turned out to be disguised as a blessing. Doubtless most are aware of the many scriptures to this effect, but the two that I would like to draw your attention to today are Genesis 50:20 and the well-known promise in Romans 8:28. Let's start with Genesis 50:20, one of my favorite verses in all of the Bible, along with all of the verses in all of the Bible. But this is when Joseph is addressing his brothers, and he says to them, "But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive." Romans 8:28, we really should include Romans 8:29, but Romans 8:28. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good, and here's the qualifier, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose, which is what verse 29 defines, what that purpose is, what the purpose of God is in our lives, which is chiefly to conform us into the image of his Son, Jesus Christ. Now, it's important to understand, and we talked about this on Thursday night in our study through Jeremiah. I'm chuckling because, wow, what a book. But the love of God is always unconditional. However, many of the promises of God are conditional. Maybe I need to explain that just a little bit. God's love for us is unconditional. It's the agape love, agape. This unconditional love that is not predicated upon anything that we do. That's the love of God, but when it comes to the promises of God, there are conditions to God's promises, and this is one of those cases where we're promised conditionally that God is going to take everything, as bad as it seems, and as only he can, he's going to make it good, work it for good. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know the way, but by faith we can know, keyword, that God will take the bad and make it good. No matter how bad it is, it cannot and will never change how good God always is. His love is unconditional. Now, you probably know where I'm going with this, so I'll get right to the point and say that the last 2+ years have been a blessing in disguise. Would you agree? The enemy, through man's wickedness, has intended all of this for evil. But God has meant it for good. And this in 2 ways. The first of which is that non-Christians are coming to a saving knowledge of the Lord. And secondly, Christians are coming closer to the Lord. Again, God, as only He can, and is always so faithful to do, has caused all that's happened, is now happening, and even that which is yet to happen, to work together for the good and His glory. That's important, because in the end, God will be glorified. However, in so doing, this is also having the effect of exposing the evil and the wickedness of man as we approach the final 7 years of human history as we know it. And I personally believe that we are on the cusp of the 7-year tribulation. In the book of Daniel, the last chapter, there's this fascinating prophecy concerning the 7-year tribulation that, when truly understood, speaks to this paramount, powerful principle concerning this prophecy. I want to start with the first 4 verses of Daniel chapter 12. At that time, verse 1, Michael shall stand up, the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. By the way, Jesus in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, we know it as the Olivet Discourse, quotes that verse that we just read concerning the tribulation being the likes of which man has never seen, nor will ever see again. And at that time, Daniel, your people, Israel, shall be delivered. Everyone who is found written in the book. And, verse 2, many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those, verse 3, who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But, verse 4, listen very carefully. You, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. You've probably heard this prophecy taught before about knowledge increasing, people going to and fro many times. I've done it myself We'll couch it in terms of travel, the increase of technology, and certainly that has happened, and that is part of this prophecy. But I want to propose another possibility in terms of the interpretation of this prophecy that might open it up to you as it did to me. So Daniel is told to seal up this prophecy. Seal up, shut up the words, and seal the book until it's time. When's that time? Oh, at the end of time. Seal it up until then. Now, what if instead of reading this as many shall run to and fro and knowledge shall increase, that we read it also this way? Many will go back and forth, to and fro, through and through, to increase knowledge of the prophecies that have been sealed up and shut up in this book until the time of the end. I did my best. I hope you got that. Are you following with me? Because is that not the context? Again, stay with me, because the context in which Daniel is inspired to write this, and this inspired record of the dialogue that Daniel has with Michael concerning the prophecy in this book, and now Daniel is told, seal it up, close it up, shut it up. This is not for you now. This is for your people then. When? At the end. Oh! So that means that at the time of the end, it's no longer shut up or sealed, because there will be many that will go through and through to increase knowledge of the prophecies in this book. Verse 8 of Daniel 12, we see it again. Now, here's Daniel responding in this dialogue that he's having with Michael. And he says, although I heard, I did not understand. Then I said, my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. And then he says this, verse 10. Many shall be purified, made white, and refined. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. In other words, Daniel, close it up. This is not for you. You go your way, Daniel. But at the time of the end, those who do wickedly will continue to do wickedly. And those who do righteously will continue to do righteously. And oh, by the way, Daniel, it will be those who are wise that will understand, but the wicked will not understand. Now, let's fast forward to the last chapter of the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, chapter 22. Verse 10. John, by the Holy Spirit, writes, and he said to me, do not seal the words of the prophecy of this book. Oh, wait, did you talk to Daniel about that? Because he was told to seal it up. No, unseal it. Don't seal the words of the prophecy of this book. Would you like to know why? for the time is at hand. Translated, it's time to open it up. Don't seal it anymore. It's opened up. Take that seal off. Open the words of the prophecy of this book. It's time. It's time. Oh, chicken skin. Goosebumps for those of you on the mainland. We call it chicken skin here. And then notice verse 11. He says the same thing that Daniel was inspired to write. He says, he who is unjust, let him be unjust still. He who is filthy, let him be filthy still. He who is righteous, let him be righteous still. He who is holy, let him be holy still. Oh, this settles my heart. And if you'll kindly allow me to, I want to share with you how God has just, encouraged my heart, strengthened my heart, settled my heart concerning all that is happening. And it's kind of filled in some blanks, if I can say it like that, and connected some dots by way of an explanation. It might explain, it certainly does not excuse it, but now I see why. Because I just got done reading this unsealed, opened up prophecy in the book about how that those who do wickedly will continue to do wickedly. Oh, I see now. And those who are doing righteously will continue to do righteously. Those who are holy will continue to be holy. You see what's happening here? This is why I'm calling it a blessing in disguise. Well, let's go ahead and end the YouTube and Facebook live stream at this time.